Thanks for that. Now, the founder of a leading stonemasonry firm is warning that Scotland's historic buildings are in danger of falling into disrepair because of a shortage of people working in the traditional craft sector. His comments come after Edinburgh College stopped training stonemasons in June because of low demand. Cameron Angus Mackay has more.
There are at least 360 skilled stonemasons in Scotland, according to recent estimates, a relatively low number given the many stone buildings still used around the country. That's the view of Scott Reid, founder of Stratum Masonry, a stonemasonry contractor based in the Central Belt.
From what I've seen myself over the years, and you just need to look at Edinburgh, for example, the buildings that are part of this country, that 360 is nowhere near enough. We know ourselves that in Glasgow there's about 10 stonemasons graduate every year. Now that in comparison to your other trades that are more mainstream, roofing, tiling, plastering, there's a massive shortage. Traditional buildings need continual maintenance. It's not something you do once and then that's it for the rest of its lifespan. It's something that needs to be monitored.
I met Scott Reid outside a large stone house in Helensburgh where his team were carrying out repair work. He told me his career choice had been unexpected.
I started my journey probably about 14-15 years ago. I got an opportunity to work with a Glasgow firm. When I was 18 years old, it was pure by chance. My late grandfather knew one of the senior directors in the company and I got an interview. I didn't really know what the company did. I didn't know what stonemasonry was, but I needed a job. It was not a route that I was aware of.
Stratum Masonry is one of a number of firms in Scotland helping to train up younger stonemasons. In Helensburgh, I spoke to William Sampson, who's completing an apprenticeship through City of Glasgow College. His experience is similar to Scott's.
I didn't come out of school when I thought I want to be a stonemason, you know what I mean? I kind of just get the chance to get into it. It was around about 3 years before I started this apprenticeship. I was with a different company and I done labouring. And I kind of get into the stone restoration part of it, which was kind of you repair the stone. I get the chance to talk to Scott and stuff like that, and he gave me the opportunity, and I've been here since, and it's been brilliant.
Do you see it as your sort of long-term career path now?
I do, yeah. I like the work, but I obviously want to progress in the trade. So learn as much as I possibly can.
Historic Environment Scotland looks after some of the country's most significant national assets. In the early 1990s, the public body started to train stonemasons. Now, HES is one of the biggest employers of stonemasons in the UK. Here's Dr. David Mitchell, Director of Cultural Assets.
Stonemasonry is absolutely critical to what we do both within Historic Environment Scotland and looking after our own estate, but it's also fundamental to Scotland generally. So we are an employer, but we also have a more strategic role.
Stonemasonry apprenticeships in Scotland are currently available through City of Glasgow College and Historic Environment Scotland centres in Stirling and Elgin, delivered in partnership with local colleges. Edinburgh College stopped offering a stonemasonry course in June this year. A spokesperson said very low demand, combined with very high costs, meant that the programme wasn't viable. Dr. David Mitchell gave me his reaction.
We were concerned to hear that provision might be withdrawn at Edinburgh. Absolutely, totally understand the challenges that colleges face, and actually particularly around the cost of delivering stonemasonry training. But at the end of the day, really sad to see that withdrawn.
So what explains the low demand highlighted by Edinburgh College's decision? Here's Scott Reid again.
If I'm being completely honest, there's not enough incentive for an employer to take on apprentices. We do that for the love of the craft. Certainly across the full sector, both commercial, domestic, private, there needs to be more apprentices. I think there needs to be more done from an education standpoint. You're talking about secondary schools, there needs to be more talks involved, there needs to be more awareness brought to the craft, and that means that people are leaving school with an understanding there's a craft there, which is a very fulfilling career.
Are there jobs though? I mean, the company that you work for, could it bring in lots of new people?
Yeah, certainly. Our mission at the moment is to employ 2 apprentices every year, and that's obviously in line with our current workload and also what we're projecting for the future.
Dr. David Mitchell told me the climate crisis is creating a new incentive to provide more skills training in Scotland. So what needs to change to boost the number of people pursuing stonemasonry apprenticeships?
I sometimes get a little bit irritated when people say to me that young people don't want to work in these kind of trades, because we know that that's a nonsense. If we recruit for a stonemason apprenticeship post, we generally will have 3 figures in terms of application numbers. I'm quite pleased to hear some of the policy shifts and plans around the skills agencies in Scotland from government. The environment that skills happen in is incredibly complicated. People find it very difficult to get their heads around. I think that's something that we need to dismantle and simplify. I think we also have to recognise that traditional skills are different. I think we've tried for 20 years to force them into the mainstream. I think we actually need to take a bit of a step back as a sector and consider how we collectively are going to solve this.
The Scottish Government said it's working to improve the promotion of opportunities in the traditional skills sector, collaborating with employers and sector bodies to develop the Build Your Future programme, which helps to highlight careers in construction and heritage skills. Apprentices are likely to be key to the long-term success of the sector and the preservation of Scotland's built heritage.
Cameron Angus Mackay.